What's going on, y'all? So I'm gonna talk about something a little personal today. I haven't spoken about this at all. It's my first time telling the world. But before I do, let me pour myself a nice little Samuel Adams Black Lager. I love these seasonal beers from Sam Adams. The best commercial beer company in America, in my opinion, is Samuel Adams. They make some good shit right here. Look at this Black Lager. Hints of cocoa. A little bit of sweetness. Let's taste this here. Good old beer. God damn, I love beer. Yeah, it's my day off too. I'm drinking a beer. Yeah, go fuck yourself, man. I don't care. Anyways, I digress. So I'm gonna talk about something a little bit personal that I haven't really spoken on at all. And I guess I'll just get to it. In this video, I want to talk about my first experience going to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. This was like a couple months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And so a few months ago, I was abusing drugs a little bit. I haven't talked about this at all. I was abusing things like Oxycontin, and namely a drug called Klonopin, which is also known as clonazepam. It's a benzodiazepine, and as you all know, in the last few years, I've had on and off bouts with drug abuse, namely with benzos and opiates, especially benzos. And I was doing these drugs behind the back of somebody that cares about me very much. Needless to say, I felt very, very badly about it, and I was doing this secretly. I was doing it privately. And obviously it started with one pill, and as you all know, when it's drugs, that you just fucking climb up the ladder. One pill's not enough, you want 2, you want 3, and then the next thing you know, you're taking a handful of Klonopins just to feel something. And I was doing them at my job. I was doing them by myself mostly, and it was quickly becoming a problem again. And what had happened was my brother came out here to visit me. This was a few months ago. He came out here to visit me, and he could tell something was off with me. He could tell something was, he's my brother and he knows me very well, and he could tell something was up. And I admitted to him what I was doing. I'm not gonna exactly talk about where I was getting them or how I was doing it. I don't think that's really necessary. But I was getting them in a way that was, not a very good way to do it. And not that there's a good way to abuse drugs, but I was doing it in a way that I was very ashamed of. And I'm actually a little, to be quite honest, I'm like embarrassed to even say how I was doing it. No, I wasn't sucking dicks at a truck stop. It was nothing like that, but I was doing something I should not have been doing. And I knew that. But as you all know, when you got a drug problem, when you have an abuse issue, it's a choice. Now, a lot of people will say it's a disease. It's not a disease. It's a fucking choice. I was making the choice to do drugs. So what ended up happening was, obviously after seeing my brother, I knew that I had to stop doing them because he's my brother, and he's seen me on and off drugs many times now, and it greatly upsets him, obviously, and it greatly upsets my family. So I went out to dinner with my woman, and she didn't know what was going on. And I told her to her face. I told her what I was doing. I told her that I've been abusing drugs behind her back now for several weeks. Like, it was about a month I was doing it. It wasn't every day, but it was most days of the week, we'll say. And so I talked to her about it, and she was very upset, and basically she wanted me to leave. She wanted me to get out of here. And I realized that not only had I been doing drugs behind her back, but now I realized that I might lose my relationship. I might lose a very good woman who really, really cares about me and who really wants the best for me. And I didn't know what the fuck I was gonna do. I started to freak out a little bit. So later on in the night, we talked and everything, and we kind of came to the conclusion that obviously I need to do something about this. And I told her what I would do is I'd go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting as a way to show her that I was going to take it more seriously and get serious about not doing drugs anymore. And just for the record, I have not used any kind of drugs since. Well, obviously I take kratom and stuff, and I do drink beer, but you guys know what the fuck I mean. I haven't been using pills or any hard drugs since then, nor do I plan on it. But then again, man, you never fucking know, dude. You never know. I never planned on getting into drugs. It just kind of happened. But, so I'm going to talk about my first experience going to an NA meeting, and it was actually here in Falls Church, Virginia, at this place called the Unity Club. And I went on a Sunday at 12 noon, and I lasted about 25 minutes before I realized how fucking stupid Narcotics Anonymous is. And I realized how I do not want to end up like these people that were in Narcotics Anonymous. Now, before I went, I had this vision of people maybe more my age, like in their later 20s, early 30s. And there were a couple of peers in there, like, meaning that there was people my age, but I realized what it was it was mostly people who were like just rough looking old ass people, like 50s, 60s, and even older. A lot of them, they look pretty much, I mean, I don't want to be too judgmental, but it was a lot of white trash in there. A lot of white trash, even some black trash. And they had these, like the 12 steps up on the wall, and a lot of it was based on Christianity. But I noticed a lot of hypocrisy in the Narcotics Anonymous meeting, because one of the things that they had talked about was how they're not affiliated to any religious group, but yet their program, their guidelines are based on, they mention God a lot, and it's in a very Christian context. I could just feel the Christianness of it. Not that I have a problem necessarily with Christianity, but I have a problem with hypocrisy. And when you have a program that apparently is not based around religion, but then you have guidelines that are religiously based, how the fuck does that make any sense? So that was one thing that kind of threw me off. The other thing was that every time somebody said something, they had to say, "Hi, I'm Susan, I'm an addict." And then everybody else was like, "Hi, Susan," 20 people or 30 people at a time. And I had this I got this feeling of like a cult-like vibe. And I've been friends with people in the past who were into that cult-like, they had that cult-like mentality. I'm not going to get into all the details, but it really rubbed me the wrong way. It was something kind of creepy about it. I didn't say a word the entire time. I don't want to say, "Hi, I'm Brayton, I'm an addict." "Hi, Brayton, how are you?" It was just something very almost like childish and like culty and creepy about it. It was a very surreal, strange experience, man. And I didn't feel like I was an addict. Because when these people say that they're an addict, what they're saying is that they're powerless. "I'm an addict, I'm powerless, there's nothing I can do, I'll always be an addict." As I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, addiction is not a disease. It's not a condition in which you cannot fix. Like if you have AIDS or Ebola, you can't just make the choice to not have Ebola or AIDS. You have it. You can't do shit about it. Now maybe you can take medication and treat it, but you can't really cure it. With a drug addiction, it's simply making a choice. There's been countless people in time who have had hardcore drug addictions and turned it around and became multi-millionaires or billionaires or whatever because they made the choice to stop and turn their fucking lives around. These people in the Narcotics Anonymous meeting are people who don't take personal ownership and always call themselves an addict, or "I'm an alcoholic," or "I'm a drug addict," even though you're not using drugs. How are you an addict if you're not addicted anymore? I just got this feeling like these are the type of people that don't take personal ownership in their lives. So with that alone, I'm just like, I can't be here because these are not people that I want to be friends with. These are not people that I want to hang out with. These are people that are lazy and that call their bad choices a disease and don't take personal ownership for their lack of success, for their own failure. Another thing was that Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, and yes, I've been to both, are meetings in which you know, obviously the end goal, the primary gain here is to be healthy, is to turn your life around, to be successful, to be healthy, to have a community support group. Well, I find it a little bit hypocritical that the person who runs the class brings in bags and cases of fucking donuts and cookies and sodas, and half the people there were drinking Monster energy drinks, Red Bull, you know, drinking 7-Eleven fucking sodas, eating donuts. How is this supposed to be about being healthy, turning your life around, when it's mostly overweight people who are chain smokers, drinking fucking sugary drinks, eating sugar? Listen, when I walked into this building here at the Unity Club in Falls Church, the only way for me to not step on cigarette butts was for me to literally levitate over and float into the entrance door. This place was littered with cigarette butts, just soda cans. And these people, these are the type of people that are just lazy and they make poor choices. I just realized very quickly that Narcotics Anonymous was not a way for me, to improve myself. The only way for me to improve myself is to have people in my life that care about me and that want the best for me, and to obviously not make poor choices. I found Narcotics Anonymous to be a joke. I thought it was pretty much, to put it simply, I thought it was a lot of white trash people that were lazy, that were blindly religious, that didn't even know what the fuck they were saying, that were trying to preach health and goodness while eating sugar and eating fucking donuts and sweets and drinking soda. And there were people that don't take personal ownership for their own problems. They're people that call themselves an addict when they're not even using drugs, and do it in such a way that says that they're powerless to their own choices, that like as if they don't make their own choices, as if God makes their own choices, which to me is fucking silly. Of course you make your own choices. And I wasn't gonna say, hi, I'm Brayton, I'm an addict. It was just very, very weird for me, man. So I lasted about 25 minutes in there. I got up and left, and I spent the rest of the day with my woman. We had a nice time. Will I use drugs again in the future? Man, I mean, maybe, dude. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say yes or no. You know, sometimes I still get depressed, even though my life is going well. Occasionally, sometimes I get a little bit down, and I think, man, one day I just want to go on a drug holiday and just go on a fucking free-for-all drug binge and just overdose and die. Sometimes. You know, I mean, right now I use things like kratom. I drink beer. Those are ways for me to alter my consciousness. I enjoy it. I don't think there's anything wrong with altering your consciousness. I think that people have been doing it since the dawn of time, and people like doing it. That's why alcohol is glorified. That's why drugs are out there. And that's why drugs, it's a multi-billion-dollar-a-year fucking business for a lot of people around the world, man. But there's drugs that are okay to use, and there's drugs that are not okay to use. Alcohol is a drug that I think is fine for me in moderation. Kratom is fine for me. I stopped smoking weed quite a while ago. I don't enjoy smoking pot. You know, maybe occasionally fine, but to do it every day, no, man. And things like opiates, yes, they make you feel good, but it's a dead-end road. It's a fucking dead-end road, and usually ends in death, or it ends in total fucking failure and losing all your friends and family. So, anyways, I just thought I'd open up a little bit about that. You know, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm powerless to drugs. I mean, I fucking made the choice to risk losing my relationship. I made the choice to put these drugs in my body. It's not a disease. It's a fucking choice, and it was a bad one. And that's all I really have to say about it, man. Let me just sip this old black lager. It wasn't really a sip now, was it? That shit was good, man. So anyways, y'all, I appreciate y'all viewing me. If you guys want to email me, it is in the description box below, and I'll put it in the comments section as well. My email is nojokestriking@gmail.com. Bitches. Also, you guys can like and share my shit on Facebook, guys. Facebook.com/nojokehour. Peace!